what are some overrated training hacks that you've heard in the past? You're going into a gym, it's a busy gym. Mm-hmm. This person has gone in, they've been sitting watching Jeff Nippard a bit too much, and they want to do the most optimal workout.
Okay, yeah.
What is your suggestion to these people?
There you go. You said it right there. It's just trying to be a perfectionist.
A lot of people look for success in their training. So for yourself, how do you help clients understand what a successful session looks like? So if you had someone turn around to you, a business owner, he's working 80-hour weeks for a business, his staff aren't listening to what he's saying, he doesn't feel authoritative, and he's lacking energy from the time that he's spending there. However, he wants to put in at least 2 hours of work into the gym per week. What would be your first suggestion to this gentleman?
A lot of guys think that having a six-pack is the thing they need to be respected. What's your take on that? Do you think guys need a six-pack to be respected in this world?
Oh, I mean, I think you need to be
Welcome back to the PerformWell Podcast. This is the podcast for you if you're looking for performance and wellness optimization so that you can not only smash your career, but also have a better life, better relationships, and better health. We believe that performance and wellness are yin and yang and work together. So listen in as we dive into topics that are going to help you optimize your life for the better. Welcome back to another PerformWell Podcast, and today we have Jay Seuss. And he is a PT in Southampton area, just like myself and Dan. Jay, lovely to have you, man. How you doing?
Pleasure to be here, guys. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so it's great.
So, man, you've been travelling from Christchurch today, I believe.
Yeah, man.
Quite a drive.
Travelled from Christchurch. Took a while to get here. There was some road work, so I'm a bit late, guys. Sorry.
Well, you guys won't know this, obviously. But,
This is going to go out to you, but you won't know what time it is, so don't worry.
I mean, welcome to the podcast, Jay. Obviously, you've built a strong reputation for helping people get in shape, and obviously you're a business owner yourself. And I want to talk today about how you balance your own fitness journey with your business.
Yeah, so, I mean, right now, how do I balance it? What would I say to that? I mean, work-life balance, is that really a balance though? I mean, I love what I do, so I'm always going to fit in fitness just because it's just the foundation of my life and what led me to where I am today. And I'm a big believer that if you're going to teach others to do what you do, you have to lead by example. So that's exactly what I need to keep doing, because that's what's been working, and a lot of people who come to me can see that. And I think if you're a personal trainer on a gym floor, half the work is looking the part. So 50% of it, I don't really need to approach people. They just come to me because they're like, they have a question to ask, like, how do I get in good shape like you? Something like that. So, and I think that's the biggest part of it. Like, seeing my clients train hard, and they run businesses of themselves, but they're also parents. So, and I don't even have kids, you know, let alone like a missus that lives with me. So I have it easy. I've got no excuse then.
And you're a trainer, you live in a gym.
Exactly, so, you know. But saying that though, when on my first year of running my business, it was really challenging. Like, and this is why I kind of lent into the specialized helping a lot of professionals and business owners, is because like I knew how hard it was, because I was working like 40 or 50 plus hours of like mixed with PT, but also a lot of admin work. And it was really hard to actually prioritize my training. But that's when I realized like I needed to delegate and get other people on board, because you can't, there's only one of you, and there's almost so much time that you can trade. So you actually need to get in people that you can trust, that are reliable to help you. And that took a lot of load off my shoulders, and I can just focus on what I'm really good at. A good book that I think you read was by Dan Martell, which is called Buy Back Your Time. And that's what I read.
Did you see that in the story, in my Instagram story? Once?
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
It
was funny. It was funny because I finished reading that book when you posted it. I was like, yeah, and that's what helped me. I'm kind of like, you know what? You can focus and put all your energy on this work, but working hard doesn't determine you're going to be successful, does it? You know, you need to work and focus on the right things, then you can move the needle that way. Because a lot of people can romanticize hard work, but they're just focusing on the wrong things, and they're still in the same place 1 or 2 years from now, right?
Here's the mad thing as well, because one of the things I want to pick up on there is when you mentioned about time a lot, and I think time comes into conversation because wealthier people actually value their time more than the poorer people do, and you know, they're more willing to spend their money on services. Like a lot of people that we have here in terms of PT, in terms of online coaching clients, realistically they're not your run-of-the-mill people who go, worry about a £50 food shop, because it is that, important luxury, shall we say, of the service, which is why I think it undulates so much for us as business. And actually that's something that comes into the conversation, that PT is very unstable and unsteady. So managing stuff around that and managing your stress, especially because you lose 2-3 clients, I don't think a lot of people realize this, how much of a panic that can put you in. Like I said to someone the other day, look at it this way. If I looked at your pay packet and you had £700-800 leaving it the next month, but you had no notice of that, how would you feel? And people are like, I'd be shocked. I'd be terrified. You wouldn't know what to do with it. But this is where it comes into it. Looking after yourself, looking after the stress so you can actually mitigate the responses you have. Now, you said you work with busy professionals, entrepreneurs. From your own experiences of running a business and running a successful business as a PT, what is one of the biggest struggles that you came across?
One of the biggest struggles I came across. I think keeping them... I have to think about this. There's a few factors, but I think having a good understanding of what it feels like to be in their shoes is really important, because if you put yourselves in their shoes, you'll understand and get a better idea of what they're going through, like the stresses and when they come to you, to your sessions, and they talk about their day, I find that it's important that you kind of ask the right questions to let them open up and kind of tell you, like, to keep them motivated throughout the process. But if you can't have those conversations because you have no idea about what they're going through, it's going to be a lot harder. And I think when you can relate to them and you can offer advice, that's the biggest thing. Because I'm quite a young person, and a lot of my clients are a lot older than me, so could be quite a challenge when they talk about life, and you're like, what does that even mean? But I can actually like lean into it and be like, so break it down for them to actually, like, simple things like, tell me about your what are non-negotiables that you have to do for you to set you up to have a productive day? These type of questions really resonate with them because it's interesting. It's not just talking about football and fucking what happened in the weekend, It's like insightful things that are going to make them think deeply, and it will kind of give them that almost like reflecting on their goals a bit. And then it kind of helps them subconsciously drive to keep going and keep motivated onto the transformation whilst they're with me.
Yeah. And do you find, right, that you train quite a lot of business owners?
Yeah.
Or was it
I would say
professionals mostly?
I would say 80% of business owners. Yeah. 20% are professionals.
Yeah. I find that category of people tend to be quite similar anyway. Like, obviously the entrepreneurs are taking on potentially more risk than the professionals are, but they're both equally stressed out, equally working their arse off. Lots of time for money. A lot of them tends to be. I know there's different levels of entrepreneurs. Yeah. But it's interesting that a lot of them come to us with these problems of low energy and fatigue and low libido, and they don't know why it's gotten this way. They don't know how to fix it, and they've come to you with this problem. And then you're telling them some real basic shit. Like, you need to be getting out in sun. I know you've talked a lot about vitamin D. Unfortunately, Southampton and UK doesn't have it. But we tell them simple shit. We tell them get out more, eat better foods, at least 80% of the time, drink more water. Simple shit. Why is it these people struggle?
I know.
Why do they struggle so much, but their businesses are doing so well?
Yeah. It's just mastering the basics, like you said. It's not complicated, but, that's why we're here, to keep them accountable so that they stay on top of it. Because I think even when, like I said, for my own personal experience, I did, you list them out in like priorities, and sometimes business does take over your life and everything else just kind of becomes second. And until eventually you hit a realization that you need to actually prioritize your health if you want to do this long term as well. And I think professionals and business owners will get to that point when they realize that, hopefully not too late. And I think having that accountability partner is important, because the reason why it's hard for them, like it is maybe easier for us, is because we have maybe like a training partner or like a group of people, whereas a lot of these people, it's quite lonely for them. There's not a lot of people that they can talk to or be around that might be wanting to have a transformation or start a fitness journey. Or even in the business world, there's not a lot of people who are business owners, so it's a lonely road,
mate. We talked about this with Dodge Woodall and a few others as well, about like that's what reason why me and Dan got into business together and went down the route of this podcast, because you just nailed it. It's like entrepreneurship is very lonely, and we both are quite social people, and we know that if we just do it all by ourselves, it would be very, very difficult to do. And I've done it myself before, and I've recognised that it's hard. You get to a point where you're like, I'm spending all my time behind a laptop. I'm not talking to anyone most of the time. And then when you actually engage in conversation with someone, you realise that you're not happy with how you feel.
Exactly.
You said that you've got a delegation. I've seen actually you hanging out with someone on your Instagram quite a bit. Is this the person you're on about in regards to his coaching with you?
Yeah. So
cool.
I have Rui, my other coach, who in the first year I kind of mentored him. I said to him, he was working at Village Gym, working for them. Their model is a lot different. Yeah. Well, because you have to work for the gym, and the gym takes like 40 or 50%.
Like David Lloyd, I think it's similar model to that, isn't it? They take a percentage from what. Yeah, David Lloyd take a percentage from what you earn. Same with Village, then.
Yeah. I was told it was cheaper, but maybe that's just because the model means it's cheaper for those that aren't doing so well.
Probably.
At the beginning.
Probably.
Yeah. That's a lot. 40%
Yeah,
is a lot.
I know. So I had a meeting with him, and I said, you should just do it self-employed, do it with me, and I'll mentor you. And for 3 months with me, he basically was able to triple his income monthly. And then after a year working, doing the shift work whilst trying to run the business, he was able to be fully self-employed and pay rent only. And I just showed him the exact roadmap that I went through, where I did the same thing, and it seemed to work. So it was a bit of luck as well. Coming out of COVID, a lot of people were a bit more health conscious, which helped. But also, again, mastering the basics, having the fundamentals of actually being there's a certain traits and characteristics that make you stand out, and it's not actually that hard, but people don't seem to get to become a good personal trainer. So, and that's basically what I kind of help him with, and he was it. And then I eventually offered him some equity to help with the business, and he started doing some more tasks.
That's cool.
And any clients that, if I were to go away, that needed training, he would look after them, and then I would give him a percentage of the session paid. And that's how
that's a really good way of doing it. We haven't thought about that.
No, we haven't.
No, but then, do you know what? I noticed there's a lot of crossovers between getting in shape, because obviously, for those that don't know, those that are listening, this man here is in shredded shape. You've seen him, haven't you?
I have indeed. I'm very jealous.
Bodybuilding Jay right here.
I have indeed.
No, it's just the lighting.
Yes, always the lighting, my friend.
He's covered it today with a shirt. He doesn't want to show you, but he's being humble. But there's a lot of crossovers between getting in shape and growing a business. What are some of those things that are similar, so that those business owners that have done well with their business can employ the same strategies with their fitness?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So I think, again, coming from my own experience of why I was able, I know I'm in a business that's in the fitness industry, makes sense, right? But let's say somebody who's in a completely different industry and they get in incredible shape. I would put it on top of making money. Like, get your body right. Once your body is right, you're going to have more energy. You're going to feel more confident. And the way you walk into a room and talk to people is going to be different. I think once you're comfortable in your own skin, people can see that, because you just emit a different type of aura when you walk into a room, I think. You know, you can shake somebody's hand with a firm grip. You can make eye contact. Your posture's better. You know, these little things do stand out. So I think it's really important if you're a business owner or professional that you get your body right, because not just long term, you want to be able to continue to do what you're doing because of your health, but also the opportunities you could get along the way and the people you meet, because it's I've learned from my experience, like, it's a good conversation starter, it's not just work and whatever else, it's like I work on myself as well, that you dedicate time to work on yourself, and personal growth and development is the key. So
I think it's very foundational of a lot of business owners. Like, we will train them, we understand the processes, we understand what it takes to run a business at the same time. And I think a lot of business owners run at such a fast pace. I mean, we definitely do. Like, you can feel it, that actually not taking care of their health makes their life faster. It makes it feel faster, because they've got all these health problems that crop up. The amount of times a knee injury will kind of repeat itself, or they're just not feeling well in themselves. The amount of colds and illness, like the amount of coughs and colds that people have been getting recently is an absolute madness. Like, there is so many more people getting ill on a regular basis, and they're not thinking, why am I getting ill so regularly? Well, they're not looking after themselves. They're not eating adequate amounts of food. Now, when it comes down that route of obviously the kind of processes that these people need to take, because a lot of the time we can sit here and we can talk about obviously the mantra behind it, but foundationally, for you, Jay, what is kind of one of the biggest foundations? So if you had someone turn around to you, of a business owner, gentleman's coming in, he's working 80-hour weeks for a business. His staff aren't listening to what he's saying. He doesn't feel authoritative, and he's lacking energy from the time that he's spending there. However, he wants to put in at least 2 hours of work into the gym per week. However, he's also coming along that kind of line of saying, I haven't got time to meal prep. What would be your first suggestion to this gentleman? Apologies for interrupting the podcast. We know you're getting fully engrossed into this episode, and we really appreciate you stopping on the video on YouTube or on Spotify if you found us through one of the search pages. Make sure to leave a review and a subscription if you haven't already. But we just wanted to interject a point here that me and Nick have 15 years of coaching experience between us, and it's only getting better as we've got better guests on the podcast. The only way we can do that, though, is with the growth of our program that we've just released. We've got a 12-month PerformWell program, which has just dropped, and we'd love you guys to get involved in it. If you want to learn more details, make sure to head to the description, as we've got our website in there, which can give you a full overlay of the program. We're looking to help career-driven professionals, entrepreneurs, small business owners, and anyone dominate their life by improving their lifestyle. Me and Nick like to claim ourselves as experts in this area, and if you want to check out some of our other transformations, I'm sure you do. We've got some amazing people who have performed so well off the back of this program. Have a cracking day, and we really appreciate your time. Let's get back to the podcast.
I haven't got time to meal prep. Honestly, I would ask him, why are you working so much? What's your motivation behind that? Because, again, some people are control freaks, and they think, again, having that mindset of like, I have to do more to get more output, which isn't true. You have to focus on the right things, and you can get sometimes more. It's like out of it. So if somebody came to me and said, like, I want to train 2 times a week, I haven't got time to meal prep. Well, if you're working so much, you're probably going to make enough income, and if you're working so much, you probably haven't got time to go out and spend it, so you probably got a little bit of disposable income. So why not use that and get a meal prep company? I used to sign up with Thrive, and I got 2 meals 5 days a week. That was my lunch and dinner, and I did my breakfast on my own. 3 meals a day, that's all you need. That's one solution. And if you really want to, if you're on a budget and you want to meal prep, again, just simple meals, just keeping it as simple as possible. Don't make it complicated. Like, most of my lunches are just tuna and rice, 2 cans of tuna, rice, So breakfast is pretty simple: granola, Greek yogurt, honey, fruit, protein shake. If you got a bit of time, eggs. And dinner is, by dinner time you can meal prep, of course, like in advance. Like, some people advise, like, do it on a day off where you meal prep in advance and then get it ready for the week. But I personally am not a fan of meal prepping, just because I would just get bored of eating the same food. So I like to have things that I can cook on a day, but things that are really easy to cook that would take like 10-15 minutes.
And food never tastes better. No, food never tastes as good as the day you cook it.
Oh, definitely not.
Like you put it in the fridge or freezer, doesn't matter. Like after 3 or 4 days, that chicken just tastes rough.
Exactly, man.
And you raised a good point, because like I find on Instagram especially, you're inundated by great food videos, the ones that go viral, the ones that look really good. They all take fucking ages, and there's like 20 ingredients, and it costs like 50 quid to make a lasagna. It's like, not the ordinary person can't do that. Do you know what I mean? I love it when you say simple meals, because I'm the same. We maybe have a bit of an alternate night for what we eat, but our best dish is the chicken, the Uncle Ben's rice, microwaved, and some broccoli. It takes literally 20 minutes to cook.
Yeah.
3 ingredients.
And you know you get all of the essential nutrients you need. It's just like this is the thing. People really take the piss out of people having chicken, broccoli and rice. But my God, the foundations of it are just good. They make it so easy. It's so accessible for so many people to do. And I get what you mean by complicated recipes, because I think there is a rabbit hole now for very quick, easy, efficient meals that's been brought out, like high protein, like recipes that come out for just cooking accounts, include the calories, include the protein. They're like the 2 things that are always included in a recipe nowadays. There are still the flamboyant ones. I think Aussie Fitness tends to do quite a lot of flamboyant, like fake away meals. He tends to go with that. But like, I think this is one of the most important things to people to take away. If that is stopping you buying a takeaway every night, goddamn do it. Because it's that takeaway that you don't know how that's been processed. You don't know how it's been made. You don't know what oils have been used or how it's been cooked. And you will eat that and you're like, I'm wondering why my stomach fat's not going down. Because the calories in that are probably 1.5 to 2 times what you'd make at home. So have that time. And it probably spends, if you're thinking about the same time for you to sit and decide what you're eating, it probably takes you about the same amount of time and brain power to order that food. It's absolutely bewildering.
What did you say about it? Like, obviously, like if you were to stand there and like chop up some chicken, put it onto a frying pan and fry it, and like make sure you're stirring it constantly, it takes maybe 10-15 minutes. If you put it in the air fryer, you put it in for 15 minutes, you can walk away and do something else.
Yeah.
You don't even have to like necessarily fry it. You can put it into something like an air fryer and make your life easier. Yeah. Or put it in the oven. Like roast dinner, everyone complains about how hard it is to cook because it takes so long. Put it in the fucking oven. Yeah. You put it in the oven, you leave it. Yeah. It's the easiest thing in the world to make.
But these are excuses. Yeah. These are excuses, and people playing that victim mentality of I'm too busy, I don't have time. That's so true. It's so frustrating to hear all the time.
Don't get me started on training, because like you were talking about, let's say they have 2 hours a week. Yeah. People think you have to train 4, 5, 6 days a week, 2-hour workouts. You don't. Like, I know you probably train 3 or 4 days a week, maybe more.
It's more now, but I used to do 2 to 3 when I was really busy. But it's just because my time management was terrible at that time.
And when you did 2 or 3 days a week, did you find that you got some good success with that split?
Yeah. Actually, I used to do way more volume and spent way more time in the gym than I should have in the beginning. And when I tapered down to like 4 to 3 minimum sessions a week, I actually made more progress because I actually let my body recover, and I focused more on intensity and not just volume. And that's what made a difference.
Intensity is so important.
It is.
I know bodybuilding has a slight different approach. You do need some volume for bodybuilding in particular, but for general, like, I mean, you can get in good shape just by doing 2-3 days a week. Gregor Gallagher, do you follow Kino Body Guy?
Hollywood star body.
Yes, yeah.
He does that, but he was referring to his training being based on Mike Mensa. Mike Mensa said 3 days a week, 45 minutes, heavy, at least 1 set to failure, and that's it, and then move on. And it works.
It's easy because I do it with clients nowadays. I take people through a process, start high volume, work your way to intensity, so you get all the junk volume and awful reps out of the way first. And now I personally, for my own training, because I know I will push myself to failure, warm-up set, working set, done. I literally do 2 sets on exercises, and I'm the same size, my strength is better, and I have more time in the day, because realistically, I don't have time. On the app that we have like, I've got workouts saved in there for when I used to do a lot of volume. They were 2 hours long. A 2-hour workout. How did I have the time for 2 hours of training? I just don't know where that came from. And this is the thing. Anyone out there, you don't need that long in the gym. Like, you definitely don't. 45 minutes, 50 minutes, that's kind of the maximum cap you're going to spend doing it. Have like 10 minutes for fucking around on your phone. But like, that is genuinely all you need. And I think that's something really needs to be publicized in the industry.
It applies to abs as well.
It does,
like,
yeah.
People think you have to do 20 reps of an ab exercise to get abs. No, you fucking don't. Sorry.
I would say you don't even need to train abs to get abs, to be honest.
You don't. You actually don't need to train abs to get abs. Like, even squats will make your abs work so hard. I don't know if you've ever done a squat workout and afterwards you're like, oh, my abs.
Yeah, bracing so hard.
Bracing so hard that your back doesn't break, that your abs are so engaged.
No, definitely.
I'll tell you what, let's go into a little bit of a question for you, Jay.
Yes,
what are some overrated training hacks that you've heard in the past that overrated training hacks?
Oh. Can you give me a scenario?
So you're going into the gym, we've got the Optimal Gym Bros there.
Okay.
And they're talking about you need certain different handles specifically to work the muscles of the back. Now, I understand about obviously the lining up with the exercise and everything like that. But if you're going into a gym, it's a busy gym, and it's a scenario where this person has gone in, they've been sitting watching Jeff Nippard a bit too much, and they want to do the most optimal workout. What is your suggestion to these people?
There you go. You said it right there. It's just trying to be a perfectionist on everything you do, and that could hold you back. So to get an effective workout, honestly, it doesn't need to be that long, like you said. It just needs to be intense. And if you, I don't know if I'm the right person to ask, because I'm a bit of a attention to detail type of person, but that might be because I've been doing it for so long that I'm very particular on what feels right for my body. But if you're a complete beginner, you obviously need to build that foundation, and because I come from a bodybuilding background, if you want to be able to feel a particular muscle group, you need to have the right exercise selection to start to feel it and make it work more optimally. But if you're just going in and you're new, I mean, it's hard because you have to. It depends on the person and your goals, man.
I'd always say with busy gyms, one of my biggest plaudits is go in and do the basic foundations of movement. Squat. So a squat, a press, a hinge, and then some kind of, I don't know, lunge or row. Something like that. Just think about that as your exercises, and that portfolio of what you're doing. Mike Mensa speaks a lot about it. I know Tom Platz talks about it, doesn't he, a lot?
Tom Platz is a big leg guy, man.
Exactly.
You know Tom Platz, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh my God, I don't want to meet him. But no, you were saying about the row, the push, etc.
Yeah.
There's 8 movement patterns. You can simplify training to movement patterns. One is walking. We don't need to talk about that. One is twisting. It's important to add some twisting into your program, and that's it. But the 6 main ones is the squat, the hinge, the horizontal push, the horizontal pull, the vertical push, the vertical pull. That is it.
Yeah.
Everything else is isolation or assists those movements, but you don't need anything more complicated than that. If you're a true beginner, I actually think sometimes, and I've always been against machines, right? Because I'm a bit of a functional strength trainer, if that makes sense. Yeah. But machines have a place for beginners. I think if it gets you in the gym, gets you started, and you haven't got someone to help you at the time you do it, that can be a really good starting point and not injure yourself. Yeah. And then start working into those more functional patterns that train your whole musculature together, like with squats, deadlifts, etc.
That's actually true. Yeah, you're right. I think that's the biggest misconception that people hear, that where they're comparing free weights to machines and which is better. But they both serve a purpose depending how busy the gym is. Dumbbells and free weights are always going to be more available than machines. But saying that though, for me, I've actually done the opposite now, where in the beginning I used to do more free weights. I'm doing more machines now just because of being able to isolate the muscle more properly, removing all the stability and focusing on the load and training the muscle is really important. For example, doing lateral raises on the cable versus dumbbell lateral raises, you're just able to get more consistent training. I agree with you. I like cable. Exactly. Yeah. Consistent time under tension throughout the whole movement, whereas dumbbells, you feel at the top, but it will go once you get to the bottom.
A lot of bodybuilding gyms, if you go to them, they've got different machines for different parts of the chest. You don't get that in Pure Gym and the gym and stuff like that. And I have seen that when you go towards the bodybuilding realm, where you're really starting to creep up to people that are looking like an absolute
wham.
Yeah. They tend to do a lot more machine work.
Yep.
you know, and I've got nothing against it. I used to do that when my sole focus was bodybuilding. But I think that you can employ both strategies. I don't think you have to stick to one or the other. As I'm sure we talked about, like some people in the industry, they'll say something's right and this is the way you should do it. Yeah. It's not true.
It's like tier lists became so popular exercises. I'll be brutally honest, I fucking hate a tier list. They piss me off. Like a tier list for exercises.
You mean like
S tier, A tier, B tier. Fuck off.
I know,
like
true.
the thing is,
You're
there's
right.
so many people who watch them and they don't go to the gym because of it. Like they won't train because like, I can't do any S tier exercises. I'm not going to grow any muscle. Shit. It's not how it works. Like, come on, people. Like, wake up to the fact that you just need to do these basic movement patterns. Like newbie gains are a real thing. So if you've never trained before, you've never stepped foot in a gym, even if you poke a dumbbell, you'll probably gain some kind of muscle, you know, these days. And you've just got to take your time building it up. I've got a lovely lady I train at the minute, and she watched some of these podcasts. So Zach, if you're there, appreciate you. She's just gone and bought herself a lovely new set of dumbbells. That's big progression for her because she had these really like dinky little dumbbells, which I didn't understand. But that in terms of progression is enough, and she's just doing basic movement patterns at home. She feels stronger, she feels more energized. That's it. But then we can obviously, as you say, we can go to those kind of I wouldn't say complex but more detailed like connotations, like you said, for training, and they are really important too. I argue sometimes they're more important for us than the person who's training, though, depending how far they want to go. I've had some who are really interested in it. They love listening to me talk about, you know, different ranges of motion and blah blah blah, whatever. But a lot of the time, the people that come in and train with us just go, I want a good workout, I know you're going to deliver it, crack on 45 minutes, have a chin work, have a chat, coffee, done. That's kind of how it ends up happening. And these people get great results too.
I mean, but remember, if these people come to you directly, let's say you're looking at your Instagram and they see you're in this phenomenal shape, they probably, a part of them wants to look similar, right? At least that tends to be the case. Like, you'll get people that want an ass like yours, for example.
You keep going on about it. This is the hat trick of podcasts now. You've mentioned it. And you just keep plugging it to try and get it through now.
And people say they want my back, you know.
I want your height, but that's not going to happen.
Height,
no, thanks.
See, I can't grow that vertical anymore. I have to get wider. I'm just getting wider.
Ditto, but I'm going backwards.
Sometimes, though, I've said this before, sometimes that's better. That's easier for you. Like, proportional, being shorter is actually a good thing. I'm not going to dive too much into that because we talked about that with KJ. But a lot of guys think that having a six-pack is the thing they need to be respected. Don't know about that. What's your take on that? Do you think guys need a six-pack to be respected in this world?
Oh, I mean, I think you need to be at least 15% body fat if you want to be in a healthy range. Yes,
got it.
Maybe you'll see abs then, but I wouldn't say you need to have abs. You just need to be healthy. But I think as a man, you should prioritize your health. And yeah, it looks could be subjective and stuff, but I think making sure that your body fat percentage is low and at a healthy range is the most important part, I think.
I think that does give good connotations to health. I think it comes into a different conversation, obviously, with women, because they tend to carry more body fat, higher body fat percentage. I think I saw a statistic, the most women range between the 26 to 32 range as a percentage in the UK. However, sub 22% is a healthy range where fertility is not impacted. That's one of the key indicators.
Well, a woman's 20% is a man's 14%.
It is, yeah.
It's about 6% difference.
But it's hard to get down to those percentages. I mean, I think we did this when we went to PerformX. We did our body fat percentages. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised.
Accurate.
I was really pleasantly surprised. It's the first time I've been lower than you.
Really? You know bioimpedance, you stand on those scales and tells you body fat. They're so inaccurate, right?
Yeah.
I said I was 25% body fat and I was like, there's no way.
I was like 13. I was like, I'll take that for a win. I've never, in my head, I was like, I'm definitely like 21.
But this one in particular was really
good, accurate.
Like,
really?
They tried to sell it to us. We should have got one.
Yeah.
Sponsored for the podcast. They're like 15 grand.
Oh, Jesus. That is expensive.
It was so expensive.
Did you know you can get a scale that has this little protruding plastic thing that goes up and goes around your body?
I thought you were going to say someone else.
Yeah.
So hold tight.
If you want that, there's some things like that as well. And then it does a 3D scan, so you can see exactly where in the body you're carrying the fat.
That's interesting.
That's like a portable Biodex then.
What?
Portable Biodex.
What the hell is a Biodex?
Biodex scanner, like the gold standard. No.
Yeah.
Biodex scanner is like the gold standard for measuring your body composition.
But
it costs. Yeah, DEXA scan.
You mean DEXA scan?
Yeah, Biodex, same thing.
DEXA scan.
Same thing.
Yeah, different era.
Oh,
Different genre.
Sorry, different era.
We've got a domestic going on here.
You 26-year-olds, guys. You don't know what it was like, man. Back in my day.
Oh, fuck off. I'll get your Zimmer out
we
now.
were told that knees over your toes was bad.
Yeah, well, now here we are. But this is the thing. All these kind of trends go round in circles. Who are we speaking to? The other Ricky. We were speaking to Ricky Atfield about this. And same thing for me and you, Jay. Like, our trends now are very different, but we're seeing, like, the kind of 2-set rule is come back into play now from what was your generation. You know,
The 2-set rule? What do you mean?
well, it's not like 2-set rule, 2 sets, warm up, working, good job. Like, as long as your intensity is high enough, you will build muscle.
My era, I was starting bodybuilding, 3 sets, 3 to 4 sets was the general consensus. But over time, I've realized that most of my gains have come from just one big heavy set. And then the rest is just either worthless or it builds me up or brings me down.
That's interesting.
That's what I found.
Because when I started, I was doing the bro split. And so the bro split is when you train each muscle group per day. And I actually made a good amount of progress. But when I did the push-pull legs, where you were able to do more muscle groups in one day, I was really, that's when my progress really excelled. And the one thing I would say is, and this is what everyone tells you to do online that I find interesting, is you should do your compound lifts. Now, I didn't do much compound. The only compound I really did was, it is a compound, I guess, but I did like squats. I did bench, but I didn't do barbell bench. I did dumbbell bench because it was just better on my shoulder joint and I was able to get a better contraction. I didn't do any deadlifts, didn't like deadlifts, just didn't feel like I was able to, I like work a particular region. Like, people incorporate deadlifts into a lower body day, but I think it's more taxing. There's a little bit more risk of injury, and you're not going to stimulate the muscle that you're going to do to train for the rest of the session, in my opinion. I know from experience that I did deadlifts, but my legs weren't even like ready to go. Like, I still needed to go do actually a lower body compound movement that would actually work it. So yeah, I think saying that is just trying to see what works better for your body and your goals, because not everyone online that says you have to do these compound movements, maybe it's not for you and what your goals are. So
it is a key thing. Like, isolation is a great movement pattern. 100% is something that I factor into a lot of clients' movement patterns. And again, it comes down to that goal judgment, because you can have people coming in and just being like, I want to get stronger. Stronger means you want to feel stronger, lift heavier, and then overall your composition will change. But it's arguably not going to be to the same level as doing isolated work, and specifically working, for example, they're going down the line of doing like a push press or something like that. They probably won't grow as much muscle from a push press in their shoulders as they would like a control cable lateral raise or a dumbbell shoulder press that's stable. And they're key factors that people take into account. But that's also why you employ us, because we get these complex sides out the way. So like, we can take that off your hands. I think one of the things as well is, a lot of people look for success in their training, and a lot of people look down the lines of what is their defined success at the end of a session. So for yourself, how do you help clients understand what a successful session looks like?
How a successful session feels like. Make sure that once they leave, they feel like they've accomplished something. Some clients, if they see me later in the day and they just finish work, they're probably feeling a bit tired and not ready for it. But after the session, they feel a lot better. That I like to see that, after being with me and after training hard, that they actually feel a lot better walking away. And if they see me early in the day, it gets them set up for the day, So I think that's the biggest part, is just, I'd say so. That'd be it, I think. You can measure it, like, if you, in terms of like physical progress, like in terms of like, if, some clients need that extra bit of accountability, like, I want you to take a photo of me like every other week to just make, keep me that little bit more accountability, to make sure that my body composition is changing, or I want to get stronger in this particular movement, so let's see if we can push it. And I always encourage them to push themselves, but some days I know they're not 100%. So I give them a tailored approach to the training intensity. It can't just be hard every time. You know, I do it based on how they're feeling. I always make sure that, how are you feeling today? Have you got any aches or pains? And like, have, you know, all these emotional things that maybe it's in the back of their mind, you know, play a factor on how they're going to perform. And I want to make sure that they perform at what they can give on that day, not what they did last week when they were fucking 100%, because then they're going to feel like shit, really, when they leave the gym, because they're like, oh, I didn't do as good. You got to reassure them, like, this, okay, I understand this is what you can do today. Then this is what we're going to do, because this is what you can give me, you know?
Yeah, we all know this. Some days you're not going to feel strong. And no matter how much you're pushing the weight, for some reason you've lost like 10 kilos off your lift in literally a few days. It happens every week. Sometimes some weeks you get really good days, sometimes you don't. And I like what you said. The reason why I went when you said about how they feel based on the days, because that's how you should train. You shouldn't train based on a periodized model. Let's say you're on week 3 of this model and you're supposed to lift a certain weight, but you're not feeling it that day. Then it might be better just to go down the route of like, give your body a little bit more leniency, go a bit lighter, focus on better form instead. Get that feeling, you know, that blood, get a little bit of blood pumped into the muscle.
Exactly.
And like, if you're doing like a 6-rep set, but you're not feeling strong that day, I actually go down to a 12-rep set, give them a little bit of a lighter weight, get a little juicy pump out of it.
Yeah.
They love it, man.
No, you're right. 100%, man.
Yeah. But
I do think it is about, as you say, it is getting the balance when you're training. And much like how weight fluctuates, your training intensity is going to fluctuate anyway. It's never going to be a linear increase or a linear decrease. Like, you're always looking at obviously having the best session possible, but it's the best session that you can have at that point in time. Don't, as you say, compare between them, because I think it gets very convoluted, and the expectations of people is they're 100% game every single session. You've got clients coming in with injuries that they, you know, niggles and pains, and if they're not feeling it, especially ladies in their hormonal cycles, you know, like, it's tough. It is tough to kind of choose that. And it is kind of having that kind of sense and peace of mind to bring things about.
It's just that progression, is it? As long as they're making progress in something, not necessarily per session, but over time. I train a lot of people, like, I'm a bit of a calisthenics lover, as you probably don't know, which is bodyweight training for those that don't know. And I find some people can get weaker at weightlifting movements on a particular day, but they're stronger at bodyweight movements. That normally says that potentially they're lighter. They've been in a calorie deficit. And so naturally, when you get lighter, strength can sometimes feel a little bit harder on weightlifting movements, but body weight, you're lighter, so it makes it easier. So those things sometimes take a part to play as well. And it gives you a real good perspective, because if someone is weak on a weightlifting movement, you're like, oh, it's a bit of a weak day today. Maybe we should take a bit lighter. But then on a bodyweight movement, they're doing better. And it's like, well, let's make this the main move today. Let's smash the reps on this. And then the progress is still there. They still feel like they're making progress. Yeah,
it ends up being linear. I think we're going to have to wrap up there, chaps. But I appreciate, obviously, everything we've spoken about. It's been a great conversation talking about things. Now, Jay, what we end up doing, we plug our guests at the end. And where can people find you and learn more about your services?
So you can find me on Instagram, TikTok. I'm starting YouTube now as well. So just JAISUS, so JAI.SUS. I'm on all platforms now. I'm recently just pushing content creation because I'm actually just starting a new project where it's going to be an online, where it's like an online community where I help. I'm sorry, ladies, but it's going to be just for men. So just because, again, it's just I'm specializing in it, so I have to be narrow in my niche, and these are the type of people that we want to help. So it's basically going to be a community of men who are ambitious, who want to better themselves. So focusing on personal development, working on not just their body, but their mindset, their lifestyle, and understanding like how to be a better man at the end of it.
I like that.
So,
this is really
admirable.
it's a really good niche. Well, appreciate you guys watching. Thank you ever so much. And make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and make sure if you haven't, leave a cheeky review as well. We appreciate you guys. We've got some more amazing guests like Jay coming on the podcast as well. But check out his details and check out our details below. We'll catch you later.
Ciao, ciao.